Rob was just wondering, is Taylor Adams signed yet?
Speak to Walsh.
Just on Taylor for this week.
Yeah.
Notice he didn't quite finish the session. Will he play or another week?
No, train through. We'll see how he pulls up and make the call, whether it's this week or next.
No, you're right.
The other blokes could potentially come back. Coxie left train to the side. Is he ruling out?
Yeah, no, I think that was, so Coxie's not available this week. So we've got a few boys that are sort of on the cusp that you're probably going to ask about. Darcy, no. Geordie, yes. Billy, no. Langers, no. Anyone else?
How long's for Langdon?
Still working that out. The medical, still getting some opinions from the medical fraternity, but not. He's had some issues with that knee before. Still working out exactly what it is, but it's problematic. It's probably going to be at least a couple of weeks whilst we work out how it reacts to load. But he couldn't load bear on it by the end of the game, and it blew up. It blew up quite considerably. So talking to Langers today, he's disappointed. He's concerned about it, and we just need to find out a bit more about the injury before we know exactly how we're going to approach it.
Could surgery be an option?
I think that's what we're working out, whether he needs surgery or whether it's just rest. So when we get to the bottom of that, we'll, and Langers knows exactly what he wants to do with it, and what our medical staff suggests, we'll be able to communicate that.
Is that a structural issue then, if it's surgery, or is it just a soreness?
Yeah, I think it's got something to do with his cartilage. So the docs know more than I would, but the reality is we're still working out exactly how to attack that, for both short and long term.
So I've got Langdon out, Barco out, DeGoey in, and that probably leaves a spot for one of those young blokes from the VFL. Perhaps what guys will be looking at there, Bucks? Wells, Quainer,
Dacos,
Sire,
Crocker.
Dacos.
Well, all those boys have actually put in a couple of good weeks, so it's a good time to be playing decent footy. So we will, when I finish with you guys here, when you let me go, we'll go and select the side.
When is the call on Adams? When will the call on Adams be made on Tag?
Oh, when he cools down, we'll see how he cools down from it. So it was he's done a fair bit of work in the last week and a half, but it's just a final session to sharpen up, and it wasn't a high load session, but it was about high intensity and a bit of cutting. So we'll see how he cools down from that.
Just with Darcy, will you think he was only a 1 weeker?
No, it was. We knew it wasn't. It's not major, but we just going to pick the right time for him to come back, and it's not this week.
And with Langdon out, Main went back in the second half last week.
Yeah.
Would that be looking to continue that kind of role for Main?
Well, Maine's primary role is a wing, so we like him up there. We know that he can play back, he can play forward as well. So he's been, he's an adaptable player. So whether we find the replacement for Langers from our defenders that didn't play last week, or whether we use Mainey, there's a few other options we can go to as well. But a very adaptable player, Mainey.
And if Buddy hasn't been ruled in or out at this stage. If he does play, Morey obviously would have been a perfect matchup. But who do you look to then? Is it Howe potentially?
We've got, as I said, we've probably got a back seven, that have been able to handle sort of whatever tall, small balance that the opposition's thrown us. Clearly, Franklin's an elite player, and he'll come in fresh if he comes in this week, given he hasn't played a lot of footy in the last month or so. But we're wary of that. But and we'll plan for it, but we won't know until the bounce of the ball.
He's made a nice return last week. How impressed have you been, I guess, with the way that he's slotted in and finding his groove? And obviously interrupted pre-season, so you think he'd only be getting better.
Yeah, and he's whilst he's coming back to a club that he knows pretty well, where the people change pretty quickly, and the environment is different to the one that he left, and we're playing differently. So that adaptation takes a little bit of time, and he's got a sense of that now, and where his opportunities lie with making shifts to the way that he might have played for the last 4 years, and the way that we're looking for him to play. And every player has to make those adaptations as the game shifts, or as the team around them changes, and as they mature and their football changes a little bit as well. So Beamsy's been really open-minded. So Rob Harvey through the midfield has coached him really strongly and really clearly on what we're looking for, and we're getting really good reward for it. So really encouraged by the direction that Beamsy's on. We know he's an elite talent, but it really does matter about how you gel in with the blokes around you, and that's coming along really well for us.
What's the thinking with Cox? But he's just not quite ready yet.
Yeah, well, he looked pretty good today. With the syndesmosis injury, it's sort of about the change of direction, and I can only imagine that the levers have an impact, the longer levers. Looking at him today, you see he's not that far away, and then potentially, if he was right to go, I wouldn't have been surprised. Look at him run around, but he's got to get that. We've got to take the advice of the medical staff, and he's the best place to feed back, how he's travelling and what it's feeling like. And we want to make sure that when we bring blokes back, that they're not carrying something through the rest of the year either. So, Reedy and Checkers are moving well. Coxie would like to get back, I'm sure, improve his bona fides for us. But when the time's right, he'll play.
It seems to be the umpire language debate that the players have been using. Did you sort of realise that the AFL's cracking down and players have got to be a bit more careful with what they say now? Can you talk to them about that or not?
Oh, I think it's just a reminder that we do need reminders periodically to reinforce what the rules are. I mean, the umpire abuse has never been accepted. It's never been something that's been encouraged. So it's it has happened, yeah.
Without fines being.
Yeah, well, I suppose there's sometimes going to be the straw that breaks the camel's back, and the threshold gets crossed, and the AFL make a stand. I think there's history's littered with those. Umpire contact, Greg Williams way back when, got weeks, a lot of weeks. Todd Curley, a lot of weeks. Sometimes, I don't know, you slay one to teach 1,000. So it's, it was Daisy's turn to cop it on the chin.
You still happy that it's a warning for 6, 6 and 6 not being ready, or is it time to start paying free kicks for that, given everyone's had a good look at it?
No, we know what the rule is, so I can have an opinion, but that doesn't matter. The rule is that you get a warning, and then once you aren't in shape, when a 30-second clock counts down after your warning, well, then it's a free kick. So we expect that will be applied, and we know that we'll have a free kick paid against us if we don't comply to those regulations.
Are you giving any thoughts of the mid-season draft and whether the club takes a pick there or not?
Yeah. Personally, I'll give it some thought, but I'll be part of a panel, and really Ned Guy's the one that's running that. But yeah, we're still, our pick will be later. So the consideration is whether there's a handful of guys that we're interested in. There's probably 2 or 3 that we would be keen to bring in, and whether they're there or not will probably dictate whether we utilise the pick or not.
Is it designed to help you now, or is it someone to have a good look at going forward?
Well, that's probably there's a balance in that, and there would be, there'd be a couple of guys that might help us short term, and there might be a couple that we would see as a longer term play. And I think it's never all one or the other. I think we're not ever selecting for 10 weeks or 12 weeks. You're always hoping that you get more reward for that, but I suppose a club somewhere might say that we want this player just for the second half of this year, and but our philosophy is probably largely around the players that are available when it gets to our pick.
Any further visibility on Sam Murray in the situation there? Because obviously that comes.
No, not that I know of.
Bucks, past couple of weeks, been beaten in clearances,
Yep.
especially centre clearances. What's been the issue there? Is that a concern at all?
No, we're outscoring our opposition, so and scoring really well from our clearances and defending the oppos really well. So I mean, there's one thing to win or lose clearances. The next is, you know, what happens in the next phase of play. So if you if you can force dirty exits or a rushed exit, then you might actually be in an advantageous position. But yeah, we do want to continue to work at maximising Brodie's, you know, ruck contest and, you know, dominance, you might call it. But yeah, sides have got strategies around congesting clearance, and, you know, we're dealing with that a lot better than we were early in the year or late last year. So it's the challenges keep coming. Teams will keep finding a way to try and blunt strengths, as we do with the opposition. So that's part of the challenge of staying relevant and continuing to improve.